myths are part of our reality, and you don't have a reality without your own mythology.
El Dorado was initially a myth about gold, about this golden kingdom or this golden king, this figure that would bathe himself in gold in a power investiture.
That person would cover himself with gold leaf, and then supposedly jump into a lake in which there is deposited mammoth amounts of gold. So the details of this legend are all very murky. It probably never happened, but it was passed down from generation to generation in the indigenous groups. The term means El Dorado, or the golden one, and it refers to a legend that existed among the Muisca people of northern South America and what is today Colombia. And the legend becomes sort of common to the whole theme of immigration to and destruction of and colonization of the New World.
This exhibition is part of a larger research project conceived with Fundación PROA in Buenos Aires and Museo Amparo in Puebla. We want to take El Dorado as a metaphor to try to understand the way that we think about territory, land, and that we think about ourselves throughout the continent.
El Dorado has defined territory, has defined peoples, has defined labor, has influenced immigration of people, the travel among, inside the Americas, and also forced labor of enslaved indigenous people and also Black people.
This started with the seek of gold, but it also happened later with the search for silver and the exploitation of the Potosi mines. And it later happened again with rubber in Brazil, for example, or oil in places like Venezuela, or more recently and right now about the exploration of lithium. All these fantasies of these materials that Earth gives us that are going to save us out of nowhere. And what we discovered in this research done with the two partner institutions is that there were a lot of contemporary artists that were still thinking about this. So we decided not to make this only an historical exhibition, but to make sure that a large component of the artworks were done by contemporary artists that are thinking about these problems today.
And most of the contemporary artists in the show, they are either engaging with gold as a material in their practices, not in just to make something beautiful, but engaging critically with that material, and also engaging with history itself in their works.
Many artists are looking at the idea of gold and the legend surrounding gold in a much more ironic way.
They are retelling, reframing histories that have been told in a way, but they are telling another aspect of that. Religion and ritual. So we have a wide selection of imagery of virgins and of contemporary artists subverting that imagery and presenting people that have been excluded from that kind of imagery to present different messages.
Very interesting play of the old and the new visually, and also debunking some of the myths of this trope of the perfect place.
Pre-Hispanic works and this idea of our gaze towards those objects and how much those objects, they were at the center of this search for El Dorado.
And the effect that the search of El Dorado has had on actual real bodies of indigenous people that were inhabiting the Americas before the arrival of the European explorers or invaders, and also in how these dreams of ambition keep, creating madness, keep creating people getting lost in the search for power. That is still present with us in the way that we think about land as a territory for extraction, and in which, a lot of economies throughout the continent don't take into account the ecological consequences and the human consequences of the extraction of land.
Perhaps our new El Dorado, this new thing that probably contemporary society should be seeking for, is nature. But it's the opposite of El Dorado, right? Because it's not about extraction, but it's about preservation, it's about cultivation.
You don't have to come in knowing about the history of gold or the history of extractivism or even any of the details of the myth of El Dorado, because you're going to either, if you read all the labels, find out, or if you don't want to read anything and just absorb, you're going to come away with a sort of fabulous impression of a whole reality and a whole mythology of the Americas, and you can pretty much make it up for yourself.